You're watching the WINFL show. I'm Ian McKinnon. I'm here with Jake McGee and Patrick Jackson, and we are joined once again. We have the pleasure of welcoming Will Keys onto the podcast. Will, thank you so much for joining us again. How are you doing?
The pleasure is all mine. I'm good. Glad to be back. Glad to see your guys' faces. Semi excited for this game. I feel like a couple plays go differently, and I'd be really excited for this game. But a few inches of snow and a quarterback sweep to the left, and things change very quickly in the NFL playoffs. So here we are, Seahawks and the Patriots, just like 11 years ago.
Oh yes, just like 11 years ago, right enough. And it's not the best matchup that we could have hoped for from this host of teams, AFC, NFC. I know Jake has been sort of secretly praying the Seahawks because he likes McDonald and he likes this team. And I've become a Sam Darnold fan. I really have.
I like Darnold too. Yeah. I mean, who doesn't like what's this now? Is like fifth team, I think.
I think it's fifth or sixth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jets.
I mean, he's been passed around. I remember watching his first start at USC. And at that first year at USC, man, he was like, it looked like he was going to be a slam dunk number one pick. And then the Jets. The Jets kind of happened to him, as is the case over and over again. I think it's kind of poetic too that he rehabilitated his career in San Francisco before going to the Vikings and then ultimately Seattle this last offseason. And he's got a chance to win a ring in Santa Clara in his old stadium before Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Josh Rosen. He's going to win a Super Bowl before Josh Rosen, probably. So this is it's a cool story. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll win a Super Bowl before Josh Rosen, but
yeah. Odds are probably about on par.
But the Broncos season.
Yes,
I mean, it was a bit of a roller coaster,
to say the least.
The two losses early, the leverage game, and the last-second field goal by Los Angeles. Then a phenomenal streak brought down a bit to earth by the Jaguars through the playoffs, and then, of course, Bo Nix gets his ankle done in the win over Buffalo. And I was saying previously, we had another guest in the podcast, and I had said that game probably did more for Bo Nix's legacy in the eyes of the doubters. The fact that he didn't play and they looked so bad with Jarrett Stidham offensively. And all the people who are calling Bo Nix a subpar quarterback all year long, all of a sudden went, well, if Nix had been playing, the Broncos would have won that game.
Yeah.
Well, give us your thoughts on the Broncos season and what you took away from it.
Well, you're absolutely right. The haters and losers of Bo Nix were sick after that Buffalo game. I think that I don't know if it really changed my opinion of Bo because I knew that he had that in him. There's kind of just this feeling you get late in games with certain quarterbacks where you think this guy's going to get it done. I did not have that feeling a week later with Jarrett Stidham, unfortunately. And he proved me absolutely 100% correct. But, I mean, you have to – before the season, you want to project, what you think is a successful jump from one year to the next. And, they went 10-7, overachieved tremendously in 2024. They get blown out in the playoffs. Still, you'd call that a successful season. So what's a successful season in 2025? I thought 11-6 in a playoff win would be a good jump. I didn't think that they would win the AFC West. So I think in my mind, they overachieved in that regard. They won a playoff game you can kind of look at it as like winning 2 playoff games when you get the first round bye. And then, you could see the market improvement, kind of encapsulated beating the same team that blew you out in Buffalo a year prior. And so when you get like further away from it, I think we'll all be able to look back at 2025 and say, some things were kind of messy, obviously, and they played so many one-score games and so many, defensive slugfests. It wasn't always pretty, but the results, 14-3 playoff win, you have to be pretty happy about that. But then, there's the massive what if at the end of the season. So, well, I try not to, to be honest, I just try not to think about it too much. But, you go into next season, hopefully Bo has, that confidence carried over from having a playoff win in his pocket, and hopefully some stability in that ankle too. And, try to get one step further next year.
Yeah, and obviously the offensive coordinator was let go, Lombardi. Vance Joseph sticking around, which I was praying he would do. And he is, so we're getting another year of Vance Joseph. 2026 season has a lot to look forward to, I think, for the Broncos. Is it true that Davis Webb has been promoted to offensive coordinator?
It is, yeah. Davis Webb sticking around. He's the new OC. I think the question that everybody's wondering now is, obviously you can offer somebody a pay raise, which is not unlike the Walton Penner ownership group to do. One of our advantages is they have some money to throw around at these assistant coaches, which doesn't count against the salary cap, obviously. Then you have to kind of negotiate whether he gets to call plays or not. And that, because you can throw him all the money in the world, but without that play calling experience, that's going to be a hurdle, I think, when he gets interviewed for jobs in the future. I think people are going to want that on his resume. And he did, he called plays in that preseason game against Arizona and did a really nice job. Regular season, obviously, a completely different beast. But, man, who's like ascended quicker than him? Because he's a 31-year-old guy who is 3 years removed from his playing career and was interviewing with teams to be a head coach after honestly very minimal coaching experience. So I think it's going to be good for him. I think it's obviously good for the Broncos and good for him to kind of get a little bit more seasoning, and then enter a coaching cycle where there's probably a little less competition next year.
Yeah, I mean, Jake, obviously you being a Saints fan, Sean Payton there all those years, did they rotate much through offensive coordinators, or was it just a case of Sean Payton is going, well, I'm calling the plays anyway, it doesn't matter who's there, it was just jobs for the boys?
It was definitely jobs for the boys. And you know a familiar face who's at the Saints for like 20 years, and Pete Carmichael. He was basically the offensive coordinator at the Saints for the entire Sean Payton system. So I think it is a case of Davis Webb might not be a long stay. We'll know if he is calling plays because there won't be 20 screens. You will live and die by the Sean Payton. And it was, always talked about Drew Brees never had a defense. I think Sean Payton needs to understand he has a defense as well. And we were saying in the conference game, take the points, take the 3 points. You've got a great defense, lean on the defense. So I'm hoping next year he'll learn from his mistakes and say, yeah, just take the 3 points every now and then. Yes, you can be aggressive, and no one's ever going to accuse Sean Payton of being boring, but lean on your defense maybe once or twice.
Yeah, I think that decision on its own could spark like an anti-analytics I don't want to say revolution, it's kind of a strong word, movement next year. And to be clear, I'm not an anti-analytics guy. And the analytics probably would have, I think, depending on what you're looking at, probably would have told you to kick the field goals, or to kick the field goal with Lutz there and go up 10-0 if he makes the kick, which people always assume that you're going to make the kick when you settle for 3.
Mm-hmm.
But, regardless, I think it's going to spark kind of a movement where we had all these tight postseason games this year, and coaches are going to make, a few more conservative decisions in those games. So it's good that we're going to be at the forefront of something based on that loss.
Definitely something. The one thing I wanted to sort of get off my chest about the Broncos offense last year, Jake, you mentioned the screens. Now, why are the Broncos so incapable of running screens the way every other team does? Because they run more screens than anyone will. Anyone at all. And yet, how many times do we see the running back or the receiver, if it's a bubble screen, catch the ball, tackled in the backfield? It just seems to happen all the time. And then you watch every other team do screens and they've got 5 yards of space. I don't get it. Do you understand why this is a thing?
I mean, I think, like everything good in life, you want to enjoy it in moderation. And I think screen passes, probably a good example of that. When you're throwing bubble screen number 13 of the game to Troy Franklin, who's not exactly a bruising runner to begin with, you get diminishing returns. But I mean, those plays are timing and execution, and clearly they got Trent Sherfield early in the season, who's now on the Patriots practice squad, of course. And so they had some turnover at receiver, going from him to Little Jordan Humphrey. And I think, some of the personnel changes might have screwed up how they wanted to run things. Pat Bryant was kind of in and out of the lineup. So these screens, they feel like, an easy handful of yards sometimes, but they're really like timing, blocking. You got to throw, it feels like an easy throw, but it's really not an easy throw because you got to lead the receiver. And it's a little more difficult than it looks. But yeah, I mean, at some point you wish that they would just abandon it a little bit and, start throwing some more intermediate passes and at least project some confidence into your second-year quarterback at times, where I don't think they did. I would. I think my first day on the job for Davis Webb would be to take. I imagine the playbook is just all physical these days, and just rip like half of those pages out.
Yeah,
just reduce them. We don't need that many.
No, they don't. I think it's could maybe go well. If you go back a few years and look at all these quick slants, that Breeze was throwing, and Jake, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, there was whole memes about it.
Yeah,
Michael Thomas but it worked. It was effective, and the Broncos never do it. I'm like, why don't you do that?
No, they did it. I think they did go for it a few times with Pat Bryant mainly, and you saw some success there. But they didn't go to that well. I don't think enough. I mean, maybe part of it was like Bo had games where he was just getting every other pass batted down at the line, and slants. I feel like you're throwing it right into the teeth of the defensive line. Maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know. I'd far be it for me to call Sean Payton, not at the top of his game as a play caller anymore, but this move might be coming at probably the right time. We can say that, I think. It injects some youth into the decision-making process. Probably not a bad idea, right?
No, yeah, and Patrick, I mean, we've seen some coordinators been moving around the league and offensive coordinators. We were talking about it in the group chat and that. I mean, how do you think the Davis Webb fit is for this Broncos? Because we don't know if he's going to be actually calling the plays. But what do you think of it?
Yeah, it sounds like he was much prized throughout the NFL as a whole. So to have retained him on your staff, it's a coup and helps keeping together the success you had last year and building on that. They'll obviously be looking to identify how to get the offense firing earlier in games, because we saw a lot of games last year, although, Will said on-score games, it was one-score games where you were coming back from big deficits sometimes and really having to go through heart attacks in the fourth quarter to pull out wins over teams like the Giants. So they'll be looking to, with that D, all you should need is like a competent standard offense to be comfortably up in games, and that's what they'll be looking to move towards to minimize those heart attack situations next year. And I think you're right that having a younger voice in the room with a bit more innovation can only help that. If we saw the capability of that team when they were trying to come from behind in the fourth quarter, they took the shackles off and they could turn over 20-point deficits when they needed to. So it's about finding that lack of conservatism in your offense before you're forced to, I think, to try and mix things up a bit next year.
Yeah. Will, we do have to talk about the Super Bowl. Unfortunately.
Do we? Yeah. Okay.
We don't need to talk about it because
let's talk about
we've spoken about it ad nauseum. I mean, we really have.
I'm sure.
But just give us your quick thoughts on the game itself, what you're expecting before you give us your actual score prediction.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm working on something right now. We're kind of power ranking or grading, kind of doing like a tail of the tape with all these different position groups on both sides of the ball for each team. It really just feels like Seattle's pretty much better at everything, I would have told you like a month ago, like obviously I'd take Drake May over Sam Darnold. But watching Drake May play 3 games in this postseason, I think we can say that he's not been the catalyst for those playoff victories, to say the least.
Or strip sacks and touchdown passes, I think.
Right. Yeah. He's been a little loose with the ball. Did not loose enough with the ball in Denver, unfortunately. While Sam Darnold, like, we come into the postseason with these preconceptions of guys, and I was just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop with Darnold and kind of waiting for that 3 or 4 pick, like Jake Delhomme, Carson Palmer level meltdown to happen. And I think, that probably would have happened already if that was the guy who he is. So I think we judged Darnold a little too harshly based on, 2 games last season. That Week 18 Lions game for the NFC North, and then that wild card game against the Rams. And in the age of analytics, like sample size is supposed to mean something. And you get a much larger sample size of him playing well in Minnesota than not. But we get emotional about playoff games, of course.
Yeah.
And he's really proven, not just me or any other fan wrong, but he essentially cost the Vikings GM his job this week.
Yep.
And so I've become more of a Darnold believer for sure. And it's strange that, 2 games later out of Darnold, I have more faith in him coming into this situation than I do Drake May, who's probably going to finish, second in MVP voting. Maybe there's an upset and he wins it, but that's all to say that he had an incredible second season. So I do think the Seahawks they have an advantage. I don't know where I would point and say that the Patriots are clearly better than Seattle. And still, just because of the nature of these games, and I do think, the Patriots defense has been getting better and better. I think it's going to be a really surprisingly low scoring game, which, tends to mean a close game. And in those situations, I think, obviously anything can happen. So I don't know. Should I give away my pick or what? What do you think?
Absolutely. Give us that score, an exact score prediction.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Patriots 20-16.
Oh.
Yeah. And I've got a reason that I think I can tie into my random stat.
Okay.
If you're ready for that.
Segue.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
A little bit. So there have been 10 kickoff return touchdowns in Super Bowl history, and 0 punt return touchdowns in Super Bowl history. The last player to return a kickoff for a touchdown was 2013. Unfortunately, Percy Harvin in New York against Denver to open the second half. And I think we can all figure out why there hasn't been a kickoff return touchdown kind of in the meantime.
Yeah. And
now that those are live plays again, I think we're going to get one. I think we're going to get one, and everybody would immediately think of Rashid Shaheed as that guy. I think it's going to be Marcus Jones for the Patriots. Yeah. And I'm kind of torn on whether it's going to be it might just be a punt return touchdown, so don't hold me to that specifically. But I think that is the difference in a 2016 game that goes in favor of New England.
Wow.
There you go. I mean, I hate to come here and brag right away, but I did kind of nail the random stat a year ago.
You absolutely nailed it a year ago. My phone pinged 30 seconds later. I was like, Wilkie's gone. Check out that random stat. Check out that. Yeah. We've got two great kick returners in this game. 2 absolutely sensational kick returners. The fella in New England, did he not set a record for average punt return? It was something ridiculous. His punt return.
Yeah, he's a monster.
Yeah. And we know that Shaheed is just a big play waiting to happen.
Yeah.
So,
we could have 2. Who knows? We could have 2. Like that Ravens-Giants game.
Yes.
Back-to-back
That's
kickoff
right.
touchdowns.
I think that was the only points the Giants scored, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
It was. Oh, that was a kicking. Wow. That was absolutely monstrous from Baltimore there. Well, there you go. That's the score prediction. I'm genuinely shocked. Both Jake and I, hands on the back of the head when you said that at the same time, because I thought you were going to go Seattle, but you pulled a fast one. Going to see what happens now. Trophies on the line.
I think I picked the Eagles last year, right?
You did pick the Eagles last year, I think, because
maybe. I don't know. We'll have to roll back the tape on that one.
I can't
so
remember.
It's kind of playing with if I want the Seahawks to win, and I think I do here, do I pick them or do I pick against them?
Yes.
So this is genuinely what I think is going to happen. I think, New England, it's just kind of been one of those years. And you can point to the easy schedule. You can point to CJ Stroud forgetting how to play football. The Chargers not having an offensive line. Bo Nix getting hurt. Mother Nature blanketing Mile High in snow for the only hour-and-a-half window out of the week where it really mattered. But I don't think their luck's just going to suddenly run out here. They do kind of strike me as a team of destiny, unfortunately. Because, there are 6-year-olds in New England who have never been able to see their team win a Super Bowl. And so I'm glad, The drough's finally going to be over for them.
Just like all the 26-year-olds have never seen the 17-year-olds have never seen the Saints win. Is that correct? What was it, 2009? Was it 2009 when the Saints won?
We might have to wait a little bit longer.
And every Jags fan who's ever lived, no offense, Patrick.
No offense.
Yeah.
I will tell you, in the 24 Super Bowl, Will predicted a 23-20 win to Kansas City. The only people who predicted the Eagles were Jake and Christian.
Oh, so only 2 people picked the Eagles last year.
And that was not a 23-20 Chiefs victory, if I recall.
It wasn't.
I remember it being 34
you're the first person to go
right?
past this time, so win by default if they win it.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what happens. Will, thank you for your time. We know you're a busy man, and we cannot tell you how much we appreciate you joining us on the podcast.
It's my pleasure. You guys are the best. Thanks for having me on once again, and I'll have to come up with a good stat for next year. Hopefully we have a team that a couple of us like in the Super Bowl next year.
Well, that would be favourites. It really would.
Although it might be Saints Jaguars too. Who knows?
Could be. You never know.
Stranger things have happened, I guess.
Not much stranger, but yes, I hope we will try and get you on again at some point. Well, maybe pre-draft or something like that, so you can talk about see what happens there. Excellent. Thank you very much, Will Keys.
Anytime.